This is one of the most fascinating entrepreneurial stories I've ever come across, and it's still unfolding. A 5-year-old flees war-torn Iran with his family. They land in Sweden as political refugees, broke, displaced, moving from one cramped student dorm to another. He teaches himself to code on a broken Commodore 64 because they couldn't afford anything else. Fast forward, that same kid grows up to become the CEO of a $62 billion company powering the AI and data stack behind 60% of the Fortune 500. His name is Ali Ghodsi, and the company he built is Databricks. Now, before we dive in, a quick word from me. I'm Dr. Fahim. I have a PhD in entrepreneurship from the University of London. I'm a former VC-backed founder myself and a product builder. And on this channel, I tell you the most fascinating business stories I can find. Not the polished, sugar-coated ones out there. The real gritty, behind-the-scene journeys that show what it actually takes to build something meaningful. If that sounds like your kind of content, hit subscribe and stay with me till the end of this video, because Ali's story is loaded with lessons. Let's rewind the clock. Ali was born in Iran during one of the most chaotic times in modern history. In 1984, his family fled the Iran-Iraq War and starting over in Sweden. They arrived with almost nothing, 5 people crammed into tiny student dorms, often sharing one bedroom. His mom had been a professional doctor back home, but struggled with language barriers and cultural shocks. Ali had to constantly change schools, always the new kid, always starting over. And I can tell you from experience, moving countries, losing friends, trying to rebuild every time, that's exhausting. It creates this deep sense of isolation, but it also builds something else, resilience. Then tragedy struck. Ali lost his father in his teens. It was a rough start in every sense, but that pain, that feeling of being behind, became his fuel. And out of all that instability, something clicked. He found the magic of computers. So he got his hands on an old, broken Commodore 64, because that's all they could afford at the time, and taught himself how to code. That computer became his escape, his classroom, his first startup. He learned that knowledge was power, and that no matter how little you have, you could build your own leverage. That mindset, survival, curiosity, and self-reliance became the foundation for everything he built later on. And that takes us to his academic journey. Sweden gave him a chance to thrive. He crushed it in school, studied computer science, and eventually earned a PhD from KTH Royal Institute of Technology. He specialized in distributed systems, not exactly dinner table talk, but absolutely critical to how cloud computing works today. By his mid-20s, he'd co-authored papers on peer-to-peer networks and scheduling algorithms. He wasn't chasing fame. He was obsessed with understanding how systems scale under pressure. Knowledge that would later become Databricks' secret weapon. So that takes us to the next part of his journey. In 2009, he joined the AMP lab at UC Berkeley. That move changed everything. The AMP lab wasn't your typical research lab. It was the birthplace of Apache Spark, a lightning-fast data processing engine created by Mate Zaharia, one of Ali's future co-founders. Ali joined as someone who could not only build but also communicate. He helped turn cutting-edge research into something the world could understand. So let me show you his co-founding team. And this is where it gets really interesting. Alongside his co-founders, Ion Stoica and Arsalan Tavakkoli, the Spark team formed a crazy idea. What if this open source project could become the backbone of enterprise data? So in 2013, 7 Berkeley academics walked out of academia and incorporated Databricks. And having 7 co-founders is so not typical of startups today, but it just shows you that a great team with a great idea and great execution can raise funding and can sell to everyone out there. So this team had no revenue, no CEO experience, just a vision, unify data engineering, data science, and machine learning on one cloud-native platform. And at first, they tried other CEOs, and none of them worked. Eventually, Ali stepped up. He knew he didn't have the business background, so he brought in someone who did, Ron Gabrisko, a seasoned CRO with deep enterprise experience. And this was probably Ali's most important hire. Ali told him, "Teach me sales." And Ron did. They built playbooks together, mapped out how big companies buy, designed org structure, and Ali, the academic, learned to sell like an engineer. He treated it as a system. That partnership transformed Databricks. And then came the fundraising story, which is super interesting. So around that time, Databricks was trying to raise $200,000 just to survive. The product was raw, revenue tiny, and open source monetization sounded impossible. Then A16Z showed up. Ben Horowitz, out of all people, saw what most people didn't. Spark wasn't a tool. It was infrastructure for the next generation of computing. Databricks asked for $200,000, but A16Z wrote a check for $11 million. That moment flipped the entire company's mindset, from surviving to really building seriously. Ali often says that was the day the ground tilted beneath them. From then on, everything, product, pricing, vision, everything had to live up to that belief. And then things started to take off from the revenue and sales perspective. Early on, Databricks was doing tiny $18,000 contracts, barely enough to cover infrastructure costs. One day, Ron snapped. "No more deals that don't cover my Uber bills." It was half joke, half reality check. So they created the strategic customer program, $100,000 minimum contracts, dedicated engineers, tighter feedback loops, and real return on investment. That move shifted everything. They stopped chasing adoption and started delivering business value. And if you want to go deeper into how they built that sales engine, I've actually built a chat-first experience around that story. The link's below in description. So let's move on to one of the most mind-blowing negotiations in their history. So as Databricks scaled, Ali stayed close to deals. Ron was a big believer in founder-led sales. So he planned a New York trip with 10 CIO meetings across Wall Street. At JP Morgan, Ali pitched the vision. The bank offered a $10 million for an on-premises deal, but Ali said no. And this is so crazy. The company was doing less than $1 million in revenue per year, and they said no to a $10 million contract. And that's because Databricks was cloud only. That was the mission. Ron still laughs about it today. He says, "I couldn't get out of that room fast enough." Ali just wouldn't compromise. Years later, JP Morgan came back as one of their biggest customers, fully cloud native. Turning down that size of a contract when you're under 1 million is wild, but that conviction to stay anchored to the future, that's what built Databricks today. Had they taken that deal, you'd be stuck servicing legacy clients instead of building for the cloud. Sometimes the hardest no's are the ones that define your entire company. However, something wasn't making sense at Databricks. They were not profitable, and every contract was below par in terms of revenue. And that brings us to the issue of business model. As Databricks grew, Ali and the team realized something was off. Revenue wasn't matching usage. They were charging per seat like traditional SaaS solutions out there, but their users weren't logging in daily. They were running massive data jobs, spinning up clusters, and then shutting them down. That's when it clicked. Databricks wasn't a collaboration tool. It was infrastructure. So they switched to usage-based pricing. That single decision completely changed their growth curve. Adoption skyrocketed, customers felt it was fair, and Databricks suddenly started scaling, and customer success was going through the roof. They weren't selling licenses anymore. They were selling results. And every time a customer's data grew, Databricks grew too. That pivot turned Databricks from a research project into a true cloud platform. And it's a massive lesson for founders today. Predictable MRR sounds nice, but in the AI era, usage-based pricing is the reality. Ignore it and you'll price yourself out of the future. And then came one of the most important existential phone calls for Ali. Databricks got an offer 6 times their current valuation for acquisition. Founders were split. Some wanted to sell, but Ali wasn't sure. So one night he called Ben Horowitz. And Ben said, "You'll be rich, but if you're like me, you'll wonder every day what could have been." Ali hung up and said no to that acquisition offer. He turned down life-changing money to keep building for the future. That's the kind of decision that separates good founders from legendary ones. And there came a crazy moment in Databricks' history. Ali spent a year chasing Microsoft. Emails were ignored, meetings were cancelled, but finally, a call with Satya the next day. His inbox exploded. However, the deal collapsed 10 times. Still, Ali kept going, flying back and forth, negotiating, pushing. At one point, he even told the Microsoft executive that if he lost this deal, Ben Horowitz was going to fire him as a CEO. Eventually, he closed the deal. In 2017, they launched Azure Databricks, a fully integrated partnership that opened doors to Microsoft's entire enterprise customer base. It generated over $100 million in revenue every year and cemented Databricks as a serious player. But more than money, it proved that a technical founder could do more than code. He could navigate boardrooms and cut strategic deals at the highest level. And then a few years later, they were generating $4 billion in ARR. Mind-blowing. They've built global sales teams, over $20 million sales reps, and a massive partner ecosystem. And the best part, they kept their soul. Still open source first, still engineering driven, still founder led. Ali still jumps on customer calls, still answers emails, still knows the product inside out. He is not the CEO, he is the architect, a true leader at the helm. And this is one of my favorite quotes from his story. So Ali once said, "If you do everything, you will win. The only question is, have you done everything?" Databricks isn't just a company, it's a movement for open data, responsible AI, and engineering-first cultures. And now you've heard the story. If you want to chat with it, dive into the sales playbooks, hear from Ron Gabrisko himself. I've built a chat-first experience based on all the data out there, powered by Vista. Link is in the description. I'm Dr. Fahim. Hit subscribe. More stories like this coming soon. Peace.